Hey guys, welcome back to Dining with Tim. Today I thought I'd make some bread for you guys. Let's get started. So the bread I'll be making for you guys today is a whole grain round loaf. I usually make this a lot every week for my family and friends at the Frenchtown Inn. But today I got a special gift thanks to Kamikoto for sending me a 3-piece knife set. So Kamikoto is a Japanese knife company where they get their steel from Honshu, Japan. What the knife set includes is a certificate of authenticity and signed from Kamikoto himself. What the 3-piece knife set includes is a Japanese slicing knife, which is good for doing salmons and meats and fillets. The second one is a nikiri knife, which is used for slicing heavy-duty vegetables like celery and carrots. And a utility knife. Not quite a paring knife. A utility knife gives you more control and it allows you to do more everyday tasks. If you guys are ever interested in purchasing a knife set like this for yourself or for a family member as a gift, please go to kamikoto.com and use the promo code TIM50 to receive $50 off your order. The promo code will be provided in the description below. First, we're going to start by measuring off 1.5 cups of warm water heated to 110 degrees. Why 110 degrees, may ask? Because water heated to between 98 degrees and 114 degrees Fahrenheit is the perfect environment for yeast to activate and grow, and water to give your bread the best result in a finer crumb. So here is previously heated 110 degrees water with 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast and 2 tablespoons of sugar. So what the sugar does to the yeast, it actually increases the time for the yeast to activate and actually feeds it, which actually makes the bread a lot more sweeter. So what you want to do is stir it to get everything incorporated in the water. Once you have it incorporated, you want to let it sit aside for 5 minutes for the yeast to activate until you start seeing yeast bubbles forming on the top. So while our yeast is activating, while it's set aside, we're going to start by measuring 2 cups of King Arthur bread flour. I prefer using King Arthur because it gives you a better result, and a lot of cooks and chefs, including me, use this around the world. Next, you want to measure 1 cup of King Arthur whole grain flour or whole wheat. So what I have here is already measured 1.5 cups of each of flaxseed and wheat germ. As my favorite Food Network chef Ina Garten likes to say, if you don't have whole grains grown in your backyard garden, dried for several months as you read bedtime stories to them every night, imported millstone from a small village overseas, store-bought is just fine. So now we're going to add our 1/2 cup of flour of flaxseed and our 1/2 cup of wheat germ. Lastly, everything needs salt, so we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt to finish the dry ingredients. So after you add all your dried ingredients to the mixer, you want to actually let it mix for a good 30 seconds. What that does is lets everything get fully incorporated, so once you mix the yeast and the dry ingredients together, everything is equally distributed. So as you see here, our yeast water is activated. You can tell when it has like a creamy top on the top, bubbling a little bit, which is what we have here, which is perfect. So while this mixer is on a low speed, you want to add the yeast water. And you want to increase the speed to a medium-high. After you add the yeast water to the dry ingredients and you let it mix, you want to add 2 tablespoons of soft butter. What the butter does to the dough is actually makes it really soft, and once it's done baking, it gives it a really fine crumb. So as you can see, the dough is actually done mixing. So how you know the dough is done is when it actually comes off the dough hook clean, which it just did, which is perfect. So what you want to do next is actually get a clear mixing bowl so you can tell how fast and what level the dough is, if it's doubled or not. And you want to add a little bit of melted soft butter to the bowl. And get a paper towel and smear around the bowl. What this does, it actually moistens the dough as it rises, and it prevents the dough from sticking. So with a dough scraper, you want to add it to the bowl. And what gives you the best results at the end is that you actually want to just mix it a little bit in the butter, and you want to put it aside and let it rise for about 45 minutes until it doubles. So as I've been making bread all morning, I have a dough that's already risen perfectly. So this is what I mean by double the size. This is my favorite part. So if you're coming home after a long day, you're stressed, you're tired, the best part of this whole process is actually distributing the gas in the dough. And how you do that is that you just punch it right in the middle, and you let all the gases disperse, and it really gets the dough to get its form. So from here, you actually want to start kneading your dough a little bit in the same motion that I'm doing. What this does is actually allows the dough to get, there you go, fully incorporated. Actually tenses it up a bit, keeps its form better in the oven, which is what you want. So from here, you actually want to pinch it out a little bit like this, and you just want to keep tucking it and folding so you get a perfect ball at the end. You know your dough isn't too sticky or too dry if it does not start sticking to your hand. It's a little bit sticky, but it's just perfect. Once you have the ball formed, you want to let it go right in the middle of your board. And this is where I like to use my favorite knife from Nikiri, my slicing knife. You want to cut it just right in half. So this recipe should give you about 2 portions of 2 medium-sized loaves, which is what you want. And you just want to do the same thing. It's like kind of like Japanese dumpling making, which is a lot of fun. You just want to pinch and twist, and then you get your perfect ball. And you want to do the same thing with the second one. So I have my 2 balls formed. If you don't own a pizza stone, that's alright. I usually like to use a pizza stone on using my dough to bake it with. If you don't have a pizza stone, you can either use like a Romatop clay baker to bake this in. Just make sure you grease it and let it soak in water, or you can actually just put this right in a aluminum baking sheet. So I have my 2 round loaves set aside, and what you want to do first on your pizza stone, this pizza stone has seen way better days, trust me. It's been through a lot of pizzas and bread making. So you want to sprinkle your pizza stone with cornmeal. What this does actually prevents the dough from sticking. So when your dough is done baking and you come across your bread's actually sticking to the stone, let it sit for about an hour, so that way the bread actually naturally releases itself from the stone. And you want to add your dough to your pizza stone. The trick is to really give it a nice rise and a perfect shape is to let it sit for another 10 minutes after you mound them into the balls they are. And a fun kitchen trick is to actually wet your hands with water, smear it. It's okay if you get on the pizza stone, that's fine. There's a lot of moisture in this dough anyways, so it's going to get the stone wet anyways. And from here, you want to get a little bit of bread flour. Instead of all-purpose flour to dust the top, use bread flour. It has a higher gluten content and it's a lot more sweeter. And you just want to dust the top. And this is where the artistic part comes out, which is why I enjoy making bread so much. And this handy-dandy tool, the bread carver. You can do really fancy designs of this. I've seen people who've put at least an hour of work into making perfect designs into this. I usually only do about 30 seconds to do like a wheat pattern. So you want to go down on each side. And if you want to do something a little different for the next one, that's alright, it's up to you. This is pretty much your canvas, so you can really do whatever you want with this. And as this bakes in the oven, the dough is going to expand, it's going to get bigger, and it's going to get to the point where it's probably going to take about half the size of this pizza stone. And the carvings you made. As you can see on this one exactly right here, as it is starting to separate, it's going to actually separate even more, which is going to give you that really good leaflet design. So this is the perfect kind of design you want to do. Actually makes the dough rise to the point where it doesn't actually break. When you make slits into it, it gives it space for it to actually breathe, expand, so it doesn't actually make like big cracks into it, which is what you don't want for artistic artisan bread like this. So from this point on, you want to bake it for about 45 minutes to an hour in an oven preheated to 350 degrees. So the bread just came out of the oven. I think it looks perfect. You can really see the designs and inlays I put into this. And my cat, who has been bugging me this whole entire time, I think he likes to smell this bread, and I think he likes it. Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? This is Noodle. For all of you who've never met him yet, you probably want to see him in future videos because he does enjoy jumping on counters in the middle of filming. So I'll let you go and be a little fatso. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make some bread, and I really hope you do make some bread at home. Let me know in the comments of what you think, and please like, comment, and subscribe. And have a good day. Thank you. I like to make a quick thank you. These boards here you see in the video, they're made by a good friend of mine, AJ DeRosa. He has a woodworking business, Ace of Spades Woodworking, which you can find him on Instagram. And his Instagram link will be in the description below. And a quick dedication to my grandfather, Opa, German for grandfather. This is a spin-off of his bread recipe. He's the reason why I do bread, and I have a lot to owe him. So love you, Opa. I hope you watch this, and hope you enjoy seeing me make your bread.